Jai Shri Ramachandra, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Lakshmi Narasimha. Today I would like to explain the Snehana or the oleation therapy in Ayurveda, which consists of giving different types of oils and fats to the patient and solving various problems, and using this therapy as a prerequisite for other therapies, etc. will be explained in this video. And the contraindications and indications for the usage of this therapy, the prescription for this therapy, and the improvisation that it offers for our body, and the complications that can be experienced due to the misuse of this therapy, etc. are going to be explained in this video with suitable examples. So we're going to begin with the use of the Snehana therapy. So Snehana is one of the Panchakarmas. It's a prerequisite for the Panchakarmas. It is not officially included in the list of the Panchakarma. The official list of the Panchakarma is found in the Sushrata Samhita and the Charaka Samhita and the Ashtanga Hridayam, as well as many other Ayurvedic texts. But this therapy is only mentioned as an Upakrama, that means a thing to do before the Panchakarma is actually done. So for example, Svedana. If Svedana is supposed to be done, Snehana is the prerequisite for Svedana. And if each one of the Panchakarma recipes have to be administered to the patient, Snehana has to be given to be able to oleate the patient except under certain circumstances which are listed as contraindications. Otherwise, certain complications may be suffered, as I will explain in this video. Snehana therapy is divided roughly into two divisions. One is the Bahya Sneha and one is the Antara Sneha. Bahya means Bahihi. Bahihi is outside in Sanskrit. So outside our body, that is external application and usage of oleation or oils and fats is termed as Bahya Sneha, whereas internal usage of the same is termed as Antara Sneha. Antara Sneha includes using ghee, vasa or fat, taila, etc. as internal usage in the form of a drug prescription for consumption and ingestion of fats. That is extremely vital and important to certain conditions and diseases that I'm going to explain. So these are the two divisions, Antara Sneha and Bahya Sneha, internal oleation and external oleation. Now we are going to explain the classification of the Snehana therapy in this video, and I shall explain different types of Snehana and an overall usage and the recipes of Snehana in another video, whereas today we are going to see the rough classification of Snehana, the usage of Snehana, and the different conditions where Snehana shouldn't be used. So the Snehana therapy has four main effects. One is it gives a wet, lustrous effect to our body, which you can just feel by applying a little bit of oil on your body, and you can feel a sensation of luster occurring over there. And not only that, you can feel a wet and oily sensation that is commonly described as unctuousness. And then the second effect, the most common and second effect is Vishyandana, a sensation of liquefaction in liquefaction in the in the solution of the fat or the oil. It's called Vishyandana in Sanskrit, and Kaledana in Sanskrit means moistening. So the Snehana gives an effect of moistening. The Sneha that you use or the fat that we use gives a sense of moistening to the body, and moistens the different canals present in the body, especially the gastrointestinal canal when used internally, and the external skin and porous canals across our body when used externally. So the Mardava effect is a softening effect. This is the actual effect that we would like while using Snehana, a softening effect that reduces the dryness present in a particular patient. So these are the four main types of effects that are included under the headline Snehana. Thirdly, we are going to see the types of Snehana Dravya that are to be used. There are two types of Snehana Dravya, Sthavara and Jangama.
Can you just tell the meaning of Snehana Dravya?
Snehana Dravya is items used for Snehana, or types of objects that are used in in actually carrying out the snehana procedure. This is called the snehana objects, snehana dravya. So there are two types, as I explained, sthavara and jangama. Sthavara is static providers of sneha, or the static trees, etc., plants which provide you different types of fats to be able to use for a medicinal purpose. And these are, for example, sesame oil. So the reason why the sages have classified it into sthavara and jangama is that the sneha carries the characteristic of immovability from the plant itself, and the main and most commonly used sthavara sneha is taila, or oil from sesame. So tila taila, we could say, or taila is itself the word for sesame oil. Black sesame oil and white sesame oil are extremely relevant in the usage of various tridosha harana recipes that are explained in Ayurvedic texts for snehana. And castor oil is also a very commonly and widely used drug for giving the snehana effect to certain conditions like excessive dryness of soles and vata issues. Vata is air that is morbid and is traveling in the wrong directions. So castor oil is generally used for that. Mustard oil is a very common oil used in North India, especially even for cooking. And across India and other parts of the world, mustard oil is used for releasing morbid air in the body, especially in the head area.
Yeah,
the head.
It is also poured in the belly button.
Correct. So that is due to vata. So as explained, mustard oil is extremely important in these conditions. Karanja oil is another type of oil that is also very important. It's an ancient Vedic medicinal oil that is very important. So these are sthavara snehas, whereas jangama snehas are going to be explained now. There are two types of jangama snehas. I would classify them under two aspects. One is dharmic, that means obtained through dharma, by getting something without himsa or violence to certain creatures, whereas the second one is obtained through severe violence and is not advised due to its maleffects on our karma, which will in turn give us more and more diseases in the future. So it is advised not to indulge in obtaining animal fat derived through severe violence. So dharmic jangama snehas are very important for our survival, and these are ghee, which is very important especially for small children, as a vital source of fat that can provide us the exact amounts of fat that is necessary for our body. So ghee, butter, milk with a lot of fat, not this milk that is removed of its fat that is available commonly nowadays. That is not the type of milk that is explained for snehana therapy, whereas the use of that milk is for other therapies. Curds are also a source of fat, and they are also very important in the usage of snehana therapy. And these are the jangama dharmic snehas that I would classify. And class D is the shodhana therapy. Snehana therapy and its therapeutic utility. So there are two types of snehana when we classify them in regards to the therapeutic utility. So number one is the shodhana sneha, which actually performs the act of snehana for people who are also contraindicated to perform the snehana therapy, while also simultaneously being indicated to perform. So for these type of people, who are generally people who already have fat in their body, and still for their particular condition they are supposed to take snehana. For example, a person would have fat in the body, whereas they also would want to do the svedana therapy, so they would require a snehana. For them, the shodhana snehana type should be given. If a Shamana sneha type is given, the person's fat would increase and would also vitiate the different bodily organs associated with the increase of the fat. So this is one class, this is called Shodhana Sneha. The second class is Shamana Sneha. Shamana Sneha is for an extreme utility when a person is extremely dry and requires a snehana therapy, after which certain mild therapies are given. The person, so the physician shouldn't be using shodhana sneha, whereas he or she should be using shamana sneha as a very important condition for the usage for that person. And the next thing is the dose of the snehana. So the dose should be increased and decreased based on two factors: the the quantity and the time. The time and the quantity can be adjusted to give the exact diet and therapy for each person. So Ayurveda is more personalized and does not give the same therapy for all. It's not like one size fits all. It's about a person's individual bodily creation by God and how exactly they have their doshas in their body. Based on that, a therapy would be given. Allopathy is absolutely nonsensical when it explains the theory of one size fits all, because Ayurveda has a very clear and perfect theory that explains that a person's body is different according to the types of their lifestyle and the types they have been, the type of people they are in essential. So the dose and the time can be varied. So for example, one person can be given a 7 days snehana, another person is only qualified to receive a 3 days snehana, another person just a one-time snehana, depending on the fat that is already present in their body. For example, a person has a lot of fat in the body, we give them very less snehana, whereas a person who has a lot very less fat, we give them a longer period of snehana and a larger dose of snehana. So looking at the person's bodily creation, we have to give them a Hrasiyasi dose, that means the lowest dose, the Hraswa dose or a small dose, a very little amount, and Madhyama dose or a medium dose, Uttama dose, a large and perfect dose for that person. Whereas along with this, we also increase the days that are supposed to be given. You can't give one large dose to a person for 7 days. This would create a system of indigestion in their body, a cycle of indigestion, which will not be able to digest the snehana therapy itself, the snehas itself, and will then contribute to the creation of amadosha, which is not a desirable feature in the treatment of these diseases that are explained. So it is very important to adjust the time and the quality, the quantity of the sneha in order to get the desired effect. Next we have the seasonal sneha. So we have classified sneha in 5 classes. Now we are bringing it into the 6th one that can be classified under seasons. So in the Sharat Ritu, Sharat or autumn season, Ghrita or ghee is the major sneha that is supposed to be used, whereas in the Grishma season or the summer season, ghee processed with strengthening and cooling drugs or Vrishya and Shita drugs, aphrodisiacs, etc. mixed with Ghrita are supposed to be given, because during the period of summer the body is deprived of its strength, and therefore this has to be compensated with the right type of snehana therapy, that is strengthening and cooling, and this should be in a large quantity to actually compensate for the dryness that is caused during the season. So Vasanta, Hema and Shishira are very cold. So Ghritam, that is anti-kapha, or Taila can be used in this season. For example, in Vasanta, spring season, Hemanta and Shishira, when it's very cold, we can't consume ghee. As when you see, if you keep ghee in a small bowl and keep it outside your house or inside your house during the period of severe cold, winter, it will automatically freeze just like coconut oil, and not exactly frozen but hardened, and therefore this sort of feature isn't advisable. So therefore ghee is not supposed to be used. Even if it's used, it should be medicated with heating drugs, and along with that it should also be very good for health. The ghee should be in a good quality, in a state of good quality. And the next season that's most important to understand is Pravrit. Pravrit is the rainy season when rain keeps falling constantly. This is very normal for most places which I am talking about, like India. India has certain climates that are ideal and actual, but still rain comes continuously for certain days. Yes.
Monsoon season.
Monsoon, yeah, we have monsoon season in India. In the same way, in various countries, you have times when rain keeps coming for a long time. This is called pravrit. This can be generally classified and can also be classified according to the place. So, this season, pravrit should be characterized by the snehana therapy with taila. Taila with drugs. Taila is sesame oil, which is the ideal oil to be used during this period. So, now the time of sneha and the temperature of sneha is going to be explained. If the sneha is slightly warm and if the temperature outside is slightly warm or hot, the sneha therapy should be given in the evening, roughly at the time, at the sunset time. So snehana should be given in the evening time during the season which is hot, and the sneha is also prescribed to be slightly warm. And midday, if this sneha is given at the time of midday when the sun is extremely bright in the afternoon, it's very important to consider the complications arising from this, because it's very bad to give sneha at the time of the midday. It should be given preferably at the evening. Aggravation of pitta, thirst, dizziness and headache are the symptoms of a person who is affected by sneha given at the midday when it's warm. Whereas when the season is cold outside, the sneha should be given at midday, because the sneha can't be digested without the power of the sun. So the sun should be medium to be able to digest such a heavy amount of fats that is given as a prescription in the snehana therapy. So during the cold seasons, the snehana should, cold seasons or cold temperature, because we can't classify exactly when and which day would be cold and which day would be hot. Only a general classification could be given. So suppose the temperature outside is cold, the type of sneha given should be slightly warm and should be in the midday, and night should be avoided for such a situation, because then the kapha in the body is aggravated, the anaha is created. Anaha is a feeling of heaviness in the heart, and panduta or anemia is a feeling of pale, dry skin. So the desired effect of snehana is to be able to increase the oiliness and moistness of the body, to make the body unctuous. But when this is done, the body becomes dry and somewhat dizzy and with a headache, etc. And aruchi is anorexia, which is also experienced. Now I'm going to explain the dravyas that are supposed to be used. Ghrita, and so if we use any two particular snehana dravyas, it is called yamala sneha or dual sneha. If we use any three particular dravyas, it is called trivrit sneha or three types of sneha. If we use any four particular snehas that are obtained properly, it is called the mahasneha. So the mahasneha is a combination of ghrita, taila, vasa and majja, that is animal fat and animal marrow included, but this is really bad, so we can limit ourselves to yamala sneha of ghrita and taila, whereas certain in certain conditions we should use only ghrita or only taila. So that's how it is. So either we use yamala sneha or single sneha, any one of ghrita and taila. Now I should explain the cooking of the sneha. The cooking of the sneha is a very important point. There are three different types of cooking. Mridupakaha means slow and soft cooking under very medium flame and for very short duration. Madhyamapakaha means medium frying with medium duration and a lot of good features. And kharapakaha means maximum frying to the extent that the dravya or the medicinal herb that is used while creating the sneha becomes absolutely burnt to an extent that it is completely immersed in the oil, and and not only its essence, it is itself completely immersed, and the remaining portions of it are just burnt pieces. They have to be removed and the oil can be used. This oil shouldn't be taken internally because it is somewhat carcinogenic. It should be put externally, and this increases its benefits. It can be put in the ear also, as the ear needs such an oil with the chemicals present in the nutrients and chemicals present in the herb to be completely utilized. Whereas the Mridupaka is very important for Nasya because the nose is very sensitive and would like a simple and small sneha. And Madhyamapaka is medium frying. This is absolutely okay for both Bahya or external application and Antara or internal application. So this would be the ideal situation of the frying for the sneha or the cooking of the sneha. So this is only when we are using herbs and frying the dravya in the herbs. A simple and exclusively ghee oriented snehana therapy will not work out, because ghee also would increase just the fat in the body if used continuously and would also cause certain complications. So it is advised by our sages to use a particular herb in combination with the ghee to be able to give the desired effect, so that the herb is giving its medicinal properties, whereas the ghee is having ghee, according to Ayurveda, has the unique quality of getting the effects of the herb that is fried in it. So this is a very good quality, and this is better than even taila. That's why in certain conditions only ghee should be used with the herb. So herbs are very important, and the cooking of the herb was explained in the last 2 minutes. So also Karapaka can be used in the rectal routes. For example, before doing the Virechana therapy or the Basti therapy, one uses enema therapy. We use the rectal root snehana that gives a lubrication to the rectum and the anus to be able to remove all the toxins present over there. So for that we actually use the Karapaka, and this sneha goes in, lubricates the whole canal, gets all the toxins out, and then the Basti is done successfully. So now I have explained the different classification of snehanas, and now the next clipping would be on. Yes?
Didn't you say character of fatty substances?
Yes, I have already explained the character of fatty substances. This one?
Yes.
This one I'll explain in the next part.
Oh.
Yeah. So the sneha has certain characteristics. A fatty substance will have snigdhatva, that means unctuousness, gurutva, that means heaviness, Shitatva, that means cold effect, after effect, Mridutva, that means softness, and Dravatva, a type of liquidy feeling, Pichilatva, that is a type of unctuous feeling, and Saratva, that is a flowy consistency, and Mandatva, that is a slow movement, and Sukshmatva, that is minute flowing. So if you leave an oil, it is able to lubricate the whole body even where water and other types of things can't go. That's why even for a machine we use a lubricating oil that goes all across and sets the machine right and gives a lubrication to the machine that's very important for it to function. In the same way, our body is a very powerful machine, a very complicated machine, which also requires time to time lubrication under certain conditions. So you can't just pour a whole lot of oil into a machine and expect it to work. It will just go jammed, and at the same time you can't put just a few drops of oil and let the machine run for years together. So only a very intelligent physician can understand the exact situation of a person's body at that time. Okay, Abhigya? So now I shall explain this chart, which has a lot of information on the performance of sneha and the actual effects of sneha. So if snehapana has been done correctly, I'm talking about abhyantara sneha, internal consumption, whereas most of these are also applicable for external consumption. Vatanulomanam, that is the flatus present in the body, is sent out. Deeptagnihi, that is the fire is increased. So adding fuel to fire doesn't mean that we pour the fuel so much into the fire that the fire just gets extinguished. We have to pour a right amount of fuel to be able to give a power to the fire. So here the quantity is very important, and then only the Deeptagni is achieved. If we give too much of sneha to a person's body, the fire will get diminished. Whereas if we give the exact quantity of sneha to a person, the fire will get enhanced. So the fire I'm talking about is the gastric juices, etc. in our body, and the anga mardavatvam. So snigdha varchastvam means an unctuous stool Angamardavam means softness of our body, of our organs. So you feel soft and lubricated feeling in your body. Just imagine you're a machine and you're able to work very well now. Your body is able to move properly, and the different joints in your bodies are able. In your body is able to move properly. Yeah. So asamhrita varchastvam. So the feces aren't disintegrated; they are integrated. And snigdhangatvam. Snigdha anga means unctuous body part. So our body part is unctuous. And susnigdhattvak. Susnigdhatvam means it means susnigdhattvak means tvak is skin, and susnigdhatvam means unctuousness. And glanihi means a feeling of tiredness which lasts for a short duration, and this means that the snehapana is done properly. And klamaha, a feeling of little bit tiredness and sluggishness in movement. And angalaghavam, feeling of lightness in the body yet a sort of tiredness. That is quite common when we give the sneha. Adhastat sneha darshanam. So the feces will have a lot of oiliness in them, and even oil might also be seen in them. Next we have snehodvegaha. Yes, so when the person has a burp, the smell of sneha comes in the burp. That means the snehana has gone and to every single part of the body, which is a desired feature. Angasadanam means a type of tiredness of the body parts. Even though they are able to move properly, for a short duration the person is tired. Sneha dvesha, the person doesn't want any more of the sneha because he's become averse to the sneha temporarily. This is the feature, these are the features of a properly oleated person. And यदि असम्यक् स्निग्धं तर्हि ग्रथितपुरीषः रूक्षपुरीषत्वं वातानुलोमनं मन्दाग्नित्वं कृच्छ्रादन्नपाकः उरोविदाहः गात्रखरत्वं गात्ररौक्ष्यं दौर्बलत्वं दौर्बल्यः. These are the qualities if the person is not properly given a lubricating drug or sneha. So grathita purisha means disintegrated feces. Ruksha purishatvam means dry feces. Vatanalomanam means Vatananalomanam means Vata ananalomanam means that the feces are not the flatus is not expelled in the right way. And mandagnitvam, mandagni means very low digestive power. And krichrad annapakaha, krichrat annapakaha means that the digestion of food is very difficult. And urovidaha means burning sensation in the heart and the chest. And gatra kharatvam means a roughness of the body. Gatra rauksham means roughness of the whole body. Durbalatvam means tiredness and weakness. There's a difference between tiredness and weakness. Durbalatvam and klamatvam are different. Tiredness is also a positive effect, because at times our body is giving us a signal that we are enough of the sneha, whereas at sometimes the body is giving us an effect, a feeling that we need more sneha. So why does the body react in a dry way when just a little bit of sneha is given? Still it should be able to give a little bit of snehana effect, isn't it? That would be the question. But if we give very little bit of sneha to a person, it gives the opposite effect. The opposite effect is as follows. The person So what I was saying was that the body, if given a slight lubricating effect, should also respond in a slight lubricated way. But why does the body respond in such a dry way to little bit of lubrication? The reason is the body is not adjusted to the lubrication due to the minimum quantity. So it expels the whole lot out. That's why the quantity is very important, and the quantity should be taken care of. Atisnigdha lakshanam is panduta, anemia, sharira gauravatvam, that is heaviness of the body. Jadyata is different from klamatvam. It means a total sensation of heaviness that one can't even move at all. Whereas in the snehapana samyak kritam, when it's properly done, the body has a feeling of lightness. Apakva purisha. Here what happens is whether the feces is integrated or disintegrated, the feces are apakva. Apakva in the sense not even properly formed in the large intestine. And
Yeah, not formed.
Not formed. So pravahika is dysentery. Dysentery and diarrhea are different. Dysentery also may happen. So the dysentery I'm talking about here is not associated with infections or microorganism issues, but it can happen if the person is already infected and is given a wrong sort of sneha, excessive sneha. So pravahika is dysentery, a lot of flow of feces outside, lot of water is lost, lots of ojas and tejas is lost during this process, and gudadaha means the rectum is burning and the anus is burning due to this. So these are the features of a person who is given too much sneha, and this person can be immediately set right. An emergency care for this person would be to give cool items, to give an ORS drink of water, a pinch of salt and sugar to set right the issue, and to quickly give something that makes the body little bit dry, and to give a drying effect to the body. The drying effect can be given.
Yeah, for what is this snehana used? For which conditions?
This snehana is generally used for a person, as I'm going to explain here, a person who needs to be given another panchakarma therapy, for example shodhana or purifying the body. It can be given for a person who is very dry, who has vata issues, and vata is all over the body and needs to be expelled. Sneha is kapha, so it expels vata. And a person who does a lot of exercise, a person who drinks wine and who wants to stop drinking wine, a person who is exhausted due to a lot of physical complications and a lot of physical indulgence, a person who is an intellectual thinker who keeps thinking constantly requires sneha, otherwise the brain will go out of lubrication and get spoiled. And of course it's very important. A vriddha is an old person, so an old person is by nature vata, needs a medium sneha to be able to get fine. So as you asked, sneha is very vitally important for these people. And bala, a small child, requires sneha because the brain is now growing and needs a good lubrication to be able to function. And for studies and education also, a child requires a lubricated and well focused brain. So sneha is very important for this. And abale, a person who is very tired, who doesn't have strength, a weak person, requires sneha because sneha has lot of strength in it. Especially ghee has lots of strength from a desi cow. I shall explain the qualities of the proper sneha also later, and that is also an extensive subject, though I shall bring it to a brief description for now. And Krisha means a very thin person. A thin person requires stoutening therapy, Brahmana therapy. Brahmana is intimately associated with sneha. So Brahmana should be given with sneha to make a thin person quite fat, quite stout enough to be able to perform his daily activities. Kshina Sre, Astra is blood in Sanskrit. Kshina Astra is diminished blood. So one who has diminished hemoglobin or diminished supplements that are present in the blood are supposed to be given the snehana therapy. Kshina Retasaha Syandana over here means that the person needs a lubricating effect in the body and is always feeling somewhat dry. They require this therapy. Timira is a feeling of darkness, a blackout or a syncope on the whole eyes, etc. Or a person who is experiencing temporary blindness, they also require snehana therapy. A person who is can't be woken up easily, a person who sleeps off and then doesn't get woken up so easily, daruna pratibodhite, a person who cannot be woken up easily, requires a snehana therapy to lubricate the channels. Otherwise, the sensations of touch and the feeling of time, the biological clock in the body gets dampened and therefore needs a rejuvenation, and that rejuvenation is obtained only through snehapana. A person who should not take snehana, starting with rukshanarha, a person who is too oily and fatty already and deserves a rukshana or drying therapy. A person who has
Drying therapy also there in Panchakarma?
Yes, and drying therapy is also vitally important. A person who has lots of fat, unnecessary fat that may be converted to amadosha needs a drying therapy which consists of very less oils in intake, consuming a ruksha food like bajra, for example. Bajra is a millet. You can Google on it if if interested in. So bajra creates so bajra creates the dryness in the body and wipes out the oils. This is not good for a person who is constipated though, and a person who is excreting a lot also must be given this therapy. So in my video on diarrhea, I have explained certain concepts which can also be used over here. So utsanna kapha is a person who has too much kapha and the kapha is willing to come out. When it is coming out, one can't give more and more kapha products to be able to send it back into its place. Then utsanna medas. Medas is fat. Person who has too much fat. And abhisyanna anana. When you see a person itself, the patient, the face will be completely oily for certain people. They are the Vata Prakriti people, they are the Jala Prakriti people, the Prithvi Prakriti people. They shouldn't be given too much of sneha. The same way, Abhisyanna Guda, the rectum of this person and the excretion is typically extremely lubricated. So those type of people shouldn't be given snehapana. Mandagni. Mandagni means that the body is having a very weak digestive power, and the fire, the digestive fire, so this digestive fire is symbolically, the symbol of the digestive fire, digestive components, digestive juices are symbolically explained as as important components that comprise of the digestive fire. So fire is said by the sages, but it actually means the digestive enzymes like acids, hydrochloric acid, etc.
Almost equal to fire.
Yeah, they're almost equal to fire. They can be even stronger than fire sometimes. So yes, and mandagni, trishna paritau, people who are very thirsty shouldn't be given sneha, or they'll get more and more thirsty, and this can be even fatal. So one who's very thirsty should be satisfied of his thirst, given a break, and then given sneha. And murcha parita, a person who is feeling dizzy and fainting almost, they should be given they should not be given sneha, because this increases the feeling of tiredness and sitting down in one place, which is not desirable for a person who is already feeling tired and fainting and dizzy. So garbhini, a pregnant woman, should not be given snehana therapy. Talu shoshinaha, if you ask the patient to just show his tongue, it will be typically very dry. It will be parched, like a drought-ridden land, for example, will be parched, and the cakes of mud will be standing out, and a parched land. In the same way that the tongue would also be parched, full of marks and spots. This type of person should be first given a lot of good gargling and purification, then the snehana comes in, or the body might revoke this snehana. And abhadvisha means people who anadvisha means people who are who don't like to eat much food. Anorexic people shouldn't be given snehana therapy, because temporarily or even permanently this might increase their effect of anorexia. So first the anorexia should be solved, and then they should be given. Suppose an anorexic person has been given sneha, then there are ways to set it right. It's not irreversible. But if it's not set right, the person might be permanently inclined not to eat food. Chardayantah, person who constantly vomits. Snehana would increase this vomiting tendency. Gararditaha, person afflicted with poison. Snehana therapy, which is generally fat. It's okay. Snehana therapy, which is what? Sorry, there was an issue with the video recording. And so garaditaha means those who are tormented by poison. They shouldn't be given the snehana therapy. In the same way, amarditaha is those having indigestion issues. They shouldn't be given this therapy. Durbalaha are those who are weak people. They shouldn't be given this therapy. Snehaglanaya means those who are averse to consuming a fatty substance. They shouldn't be given this therapy. In the same way, madaturaha is the person who is completely intoxicated. They also shouldn't be given this therapy. Ajiranaha is the person suffering from indigestion. Shouldn't be given this therapy. Tarunajwaraha is the person having a fever just come now. And then Basti Karma is the person who has been given enema. They already lost a lot of fluid from the body. So it's not good to continuously give them the snehana, which makes them lose more fluid. And aruchihi is those suffering from anorexia. Shramitaha is those people who are tired after doing a very strenuous activity, and Viriktaha are those who have been given the purgation or Virechana therapy. For example, giving castor oil and making the person purge of the feces out. And also Vamitaha means the person who has just vomited, and one who has is getting the nausea again and again, just about to vomit. So in the same way, Akala Prasutihi means the woman who has delivered a child prematurely. So the mother of a premature baby shouldn't be given snehana at the early stage of delivery. Just after delivery, the person shouldn't be given snehana. And then Galarogi is the person who has a throat inflammation, or we could say a thyroid issue, etc. So according to Ayurveda, such things increase the inflammation by increasing the quantity of fat in them, because primarily such inflammation is because of fat and water, and snehana contributes to both. So it's important not to consume such things. Not only thyroid issues are more associated with our glands, but sometimes people just have extra fat growths, etc. around this area, and that can be minimized by not consuming too much of fat and water consumed along with fat. And Udara Rogi is the person with stomach issues, for example ascites, etc. And Uru Stambha means the person who is having a stuck thigh and not able to get up properly, and the thigh is actually congested, in fact, with some sprains and issues and vata, etc. They shouldn't be consuming snehana dravyas. Atisari is the person with diarrhea. Atisara is diarrhea. You can watch my video on diarrhea. So if a person is supposed to take snehana, one should cure diarrhea first, get the diarrhea completely cured, give a break, and then consume snehana. Tikshnagni is very fierce fire, digestive fire. This is also a malefic condition, and therefore snehana just adds fuel to fire, we would say. So fuel over here is the oil, and digestive acids continue their increase. And this is what is so these are the contraindications for snehapana. Now I shall explain the complications that may arise if a person gives snehana dravya to the contraindicated persons. Tandra, that is full dizziness and tiredness for a long period of time, which is not desired. In the same way, utkleshaha is a difficulty in breathing, difficulty in feeling free. And in the same way, anahaha means a heaviness in the heart, catch in the heart, they would say. Trisha is thirst. Aruchihi is anorexia. Amapradoshaha is the amadosha that is increased. Prakarshena amadoshaha vriddhitaha. Amapradoshaha. So this is also a condition which is not very good. Then we have the cure for this is Deepana and Pachana of Sneha. So the Deepana and Pachana therapy will automatically reduce the effect of the Snehana by digesting the Snehana dravyas, and therefore we can reduce it. And one very good recipe for this would be immediately one should consume Pippali. Pippali is long pepper. Gugulu is Acacia gugul. You can search for it on Google. It's a very common Ayurvedic herb. In the same way, we have Haritaki. It's one of the Triphala, Haritaki, Vibhitaki, and Amalaki. So Haritaki, these three things consumed with honey is one effective combination to reduce the maleffects of contraindicated.
Cure?
Sorry?
For this one?
Yes, I already explained Deepana and Pachana. And after that, Vamana is a very good therapy because
I said about Tandra Uklesha.
I already explained that. So Vamana is also a very important therapy. So in case the patient has taken too much of Snehana Dravya and now it has to be expelled. Number one, this has to be removed through the esophageal route by excreting it completely out, and that will reduce the amount of fat that is already gone through the esophagus, whereas the one that has already reached the intestines can be set right by consuming Pippali, Gugulu, Haritaki with honey. So these are the different situations we are supposed to use medicines in. And next would be the Panchakarma. Snehana is supposed to be done for 3, 5 or 7 days based on the necessity. Abhyanga and Svedana are supposed to be done for the 4th, 6th or 8th days, or 4, 6 and 8 days. Vamana should be done on the 8th day, and Virechana should be done 6th, 8th and 11th days, or for 6, 8 and 11 days. So this is a procedure for it. And now I shall explain the regimen to follow. One shouldn't consume cold water after Snehana is done. One should consume hot water. One shouldn't bathe in cold water also. One should only bathe in hot water. So for everything, not hot exactly, but warm water. That not lukewarm, but slightly warm. I would say a comfortable temperature of water for that particular person, on the warmer side. And then also the person should observe celibacy, brahmacharya, and also the person shouldn't consume any food that creates a lot of salivation in the mouth. So there are certain foodstuffs that just keep creating some salivation, and they shouldn't be consumed. And one shouldn't be exposed to a lot of smoke, especially polluted smoke. One shouldn't be exposed to a lot of dust from vehicles, etc., and also from animals and stuff like that. And one shouldn't do a lot of exercise, no exercise in fact. Just stay stable, walk around for a short while, like a few 5 minutes every 1 hour, but do not do any exercise as such. Uchchair bhashyam nirvyayamah. Uchchair bhashyam, avoid loud speech, avoid loud and noisy talk. And in the same way, because this stresses out the body, and the vocal cords which have already been oleated for their improvisation will not happen. And then
what about singing, Divya?
Singing also shouldn't be done during this period. It is very important. Even if one wants to sing, low notes are better and high notes aren't advised. And in the same way, krodha shokavu tyajet. One shouldn't be excessively angry or excessively.
How many days should this be followed?
This should be followed exactly 5 days before the Snehapana and 5 days after the Snehapana also. If the Snehapana is for 3 days, if the Snehapana is for 5 days, then it's supposed to be some 8 to 10 days of this. And if it is for 7 days, the thing should be for 10 to 12 days somewhat, like that. So at least for a week the person should observe these rules. And after Snehana, if you have other remedies, like for example Abhyanga and Svedana, they have their own precautions. Those precautions will also continue. So if the whole so these things should actually be avoided in the whole Panchakarma procedure. But if one is just taking Snehana procedure, one can keep it as 1 week after this and 1 week before this. And krodha shoka. Krodha is anger and shoka is grief. So one shouldn't be excessively sad or excessively angry. And a lot of winds also. It's called pravata. Prakarshena vataha agacchati. That is pravata. That means that air is hitting a lot, and when the air keeps hitting, the body gets dried out. And one shouldn't sleep in air conditioned rooms also when we have been taken to Snehana procedure. So when we have reached the level of Snehana, we shouldn't sit in any air conditioned rooms, because that dries up the body and makes the body drier instead of moistening the body as we want it in this particular procedure. So that is very important. And even the fan mustn't be switched on. If the patient wants the fan to be switched on for a few minutes also, due to some issues, it can be switched on at a low speed, so that it doesn't blow too much wind on the person's body, so as to remove all the moistness from the body. And in the same way, the person should avoid extreme cold temperatures, both inside and outside. That means ingestion of food, no extreme cold, and avoid the opposite. Extreme hot also should be avoided. Just the middle is the perfect. And sleeping time should be exactly correct. That person would have been adjusted to a particular sleeping time that shouldn't be disturbed, and it should be in conformity with Ayurveda. That is around 9:30 to 10:30 for an adult, maximum 10:30, and for a child the maximum upper limit is 8:30. This depends on what they are adjusted to. A person who is not adjusted to sleeping very long, if made to sleep very long, will surely cause indigestion. A person who is adjusted to sleep for a very long time, if made to get up very early, will also cause issues. But based on the therapy, the waking up time can be changed slightly to be in conformity with the Ayurvedic procedures to ensure health. And no traveling too much, that is also very important, whatever travel it is, because the movement that is experienced while traveling creates issues for the body, and the body cannot comply with such a continuous and fast movement. Horse riding is also not allowed, so is any other animal, because animals keep shaking while carrying us, and that will also cause issues for the body, and the intestines will start shaking, which will prevent digestion. Instead, the body will concentrate on keeping the ergonomics of the body better. So one shouldn't sit at a very high level, because that also creates a sort of uneasiness for the body's canals situated here, semicircular canals, etc. It creates an uneasy sensation. So one shouldn't go and sit up at a very tall area. It creates uneasiness for the body. Nor should one sit too down. This also creates a maladjustment with the ray network of the particular area of earth. So when the maladjustment happens, the person's body is so it's concentrating more on the the position, the geolocation of that person. So that's why it's very important not to sit on a very high area nor a very low area. Nor should one consume ruksha food. Ruksha is dry food without any oils, just like a bajra roti prepared without anything, and a sabji that is so dry that it doesn't even contain a little bit of water. People like to eat like this generally, and that also creates major issues. Eating potatoes, too much of potatoes, even if it's fried, isn't good, as it increases vata, which increases dryness. So I have explained certain things over here which is not to be done. Now I shall explain the alleviative prescription. For normal clients or persons, for Vata Prakriti people, Sukumara or Bala Taila is very good. Even Ghrita is very good. So here, this is Sukumara Ghrita or Bala Taila is very good for Vata Prakriti people, as this will increase the complexion of the body. One can read about the Sukumara Ghrita and Ashtanga Hridayam. Since we have a very short duration now, I would not like to go too much into detail for the Sukumara Ghrita, as its preparation is a very long procedure. You can check out this one in the Snehana chapter and the Taila and Ghrita chapters of Ashtanga Hridayam. Whereas the Pitta Prakriti people should consume Shatavari Ghrita, and Ghrita is a cooling thing, so it's most important for them to consume Shatavari Ghrita. Whereas a Kapha Prakriti person can do well with a Taila, but if a Ghrita is required, Dashamula Ghrita is extremely beneficial for such a person. And now I shall explain the improvisation. So if a person is not having any particular ailment, and they just want a purification of the body and an improvisation of one of the services the body offers us. So our body actually has a very wonderful intellect. So if someone is willing to is wanting to increase their intellectual power, to become more intelligent, they should consume Brahmi Ghrita. This is for the effect Smriti Medha Vardhana, to increase the intelligence and medha. Medha is the brain. Sharira Pushtyartham Brahmanartham means to increase the nourishment of the body and to nourish the body with all fatty substances. This is recommended for thin people, Shatavari Ghrita, and the previous one is recommended for dull people who are not able to understand things very easily due to some blockages. So the Panchakarma procedure itself will help. Along with that, Brahmi Ghrita should be specifically used in every single case. For Vrishanartham, for enhancing the reproductive system, Mashak Ghrita or Amrita Prashak Ghrita is also recommended by Ayurveda. And diseases that are very important. So diseases are Kushtaroga. For Kushtaroga, one can use Guggulu, Tiktaka. So Ashtanga Hridayam and other scriptures say Kushtaroge, Guggulu, Tiktakadini, Ityadini. So Guggulu and Tiktaka are very good herbs to consume when one has Kushtaroga. Whereas Sukumara Ghrita, Kushtaroga is leprosy. So when one is having the system, a sort of leprosy or just a skin infection or something, it is very good to consume the Sukumara Ghrita, and also Guggulu and Tiktaka oils. And also Sukumara Ghrita is very important for Pitta and Vata ailments, anything like that. Ama Vata, for Ama Vata one can use Brihat So one can use Brat Saindhavadi Taila with a lot of Saindhava salt, etc., various things in it. That is also a very important Taila. Balagudotyadi Taila. And for Apasmara or epilepsy, one can use Brahmi Ghrita. So there are a list of diseases after this that we can concentrate on the prescription portion in another video maybe. But for now, this information of Snehana would be very good enough to conduct a simple home Snehana for a simple cause. But if there is any very big ailment, one has to do it with the help of a very experienced and professional Ayurvedic doctor who has considered everything properly. Now she'll explain the qualities of a particular Snehana. So the quality of Ghrita should be from a desi cow, should be pure, and if possible should be very old. If it is old for more than 1 year, it's really good. 10 years, extremely good. More than 100 years, it's the best. So these are different things given by our ancient sages who have observed that the medical potency of a particular substance increases by age or decreases by its age. So the preparation, mode of preparation, as I explained, Kharapaka, Mridupaka and Madhyamapaka, all these factors have to be considered and reconsidered to come at the conclusion based on a person's innate tendencies, based on a person's zodiacal tendencies, etc. One should understand, one should understand their constitution and be able to give them the drug that fits their body in every single way. This is the definition for a proper Snehana therapy. So hope this video was informative. Thank you. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Ramachandra, Jai Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha.
What about this man, Bhaiya? I feel he's falling into the water.
No, he's actually doing exercise, but he shouldn't be doing it. So I had to put a cross on his face. Oh, sorry. Yes, I've written it.
Yeah, what about that animal with a horn? Isn't it a pig or something?
Looks like a mammoth to me, but I don't know when and what I meant by drawing that thing. Anyways.
Yeah, and what's that? Is it a dog on that man? Is it a dog that the man is sitting on?
So there was an issue with the recording, so we can continue now.
No, the battery was low.
That doesn't matter, cut the video.
Okay.
Finally, it was an issue with the recording.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
start.
shut up. Have you connected the microphone, or I'm just sitting like a dummy with the microphone?
It's not connected.
Then I will disconnect your brain from your body.